It's a wild, supernatural scene we are treated to in today's reading from the book of Acts. There are tongues of fire. There is violent wind and a crowd speaking and understanding a multitude of languages they have never known. What does this mean? Some ask. They are filled with new wine, others answer. And to this, Peter responds, "Indeed, these are not drunk, as you suppose, for it is only 9 o'clock in the morning." John Cleese, of Monty Python fame, has described this comedic tool of applying hyperlogic to an absurd premise. He argues that some of the best comedy occurs when a character responds to a completely chaotic and unhinged situation with dry, literal-minded logic. This will not surprise anyone who has watched his work. So Peter's line that might as well be, "They can't be drunk, the liquor stores aren't even open yet," has provoked chuckles in the congregation every time and every place I've heard it read. And I don't think that's an accident. I believe it is a joke. I believe Luke, our master storyteller, intended it that way, giving us the gift of laughter on the day of Pentecost every year. One of the things I love most about St. John's is the laughter. All the time, even in unexpected settings. This place knows how to laugh. Or put another way, this community isn't afraid to laugh. It isn't held to some kind of forced, polite solemnity. Because the thing is, I know that many of you in this room are carrying tremendous worry and exhaustion and anger and disappointment and sorrow and fear. And still, somehow, there is laughter here. And I don't think that's trivial. I think it's holy, and I think it's a particular charism of this community. Because laughter, as Stephen Colbert suggests, is what keeps the very real fear of a time like this from hardening into despair. Laughter is, in the end, a powerful force. And I suspect that powerful people who seek to mold the world into their own image have always feared that force. The fear of laughter's power is, after all, why the cancellation of Colbert's late-night talk show, seemingly for provoking laughter offensive to powers that be, carries meaning beyond our own television habits. Because it has revealed that in a time like this, political power can and will reach into public speech and silence it, especially when laughter is involved. Of course, compared to all the violence and separation and injustice and uncertainty unfolding around us, this is a small thing. But still, Colbert's final show, which aired on Thursday, left me in yet another, I can't believe this is happening, place. And that's a place, it turns out, not so far from the emotional world of the first Pentecost. Before the wind and tongues of fire, the disciples are still huddled together in that house, staying close. It has been just 50 days since their friend and guide was put to death by the state. And throughout those days, they have seen this friend risen from the dead, and they have been able to speak with him and interact with him and break bread with him, and then their friend left them once again, disappearing in a cloud. But before he did, he instructed them to stay in Jerusalem because God is going to give them a gift and they should be here for it. And immediately they ask, "Are you going at this time to restore the kingdom to Israel?" An almost childlike guess at what's wrapped under the Christmas tree. Will the occupying forces retreat? Will we once again recognize our own city, our country, our world? There is a particular kind of grief and disorientation that comes when institutions and norms you assumed were unshakable seem fragile. A time when things you thought could never happen begin happening anyway. A time like the one the disciples and everyone gathered in Jerusalem were standing inside all those years ago. The immediate political relief the disciples were hoping for was not the gift they received. The gift they received just 10 days later, the gift of the Holy Spirit, was so much bigger than that. Because the Holy Spirit brought nothing less than life. At the beginning of creation, she moved over the deep. When God formed humanity from the dust, she breathed their very breath into them. When Mary was told she would bear God into the world, the Spirit came over her, and on Pentecost, the Spirit, this forever and ever gift, I'm getting excited, came to everyone. Everyone. All people were prophets now. All people are prophets now. Talk about a threat to empire. The Spirit is always moving us toward life, toward the full humanness we were designed for, and always calling us to resist whatever diminishes life and that humanness. Cruelty, violence, oppression, injustice, greed. And so it stands to reason that Pentecost didn't come sounding like a 3-hour monotone lecture from the heavens, complete with accompanying slide deck. Came like a party, spilling out into the streets, sound effects and visual effects and shouting and singing, and I have to believe, laughter. Because when you think about it, laughter itself is a little, dare I say, Pentecostal. Maybe it's not exactly speaking in tongues, but it does come on us as a surprise. It catches and it spreads. It physically overtakes us. And it's the same in every language. And so maybe the more astounding Pentecost effect wasn't so much that people spoke to one another in any particular unfamiliar dialect. Maybe it was that people understood one another. The Spirit created connection where fear had created separation, created community across boundary lines. And we know the community gives us courage. This miracle of the Pentecost party doesn't make grief or fear dissolve. It does not trample the occupying empire or remove us from an "I can't believe this is happening" moment. The miracle is that the Holy Spirit comes to us and creates a community that is fully alive anyway, that sings anyway, that gathers anyway, that feeds and protects anyway, that finds some way to love and laugh with each other anyway. Robert Hayden wrote, "We must not be frightened nor cajoled into accepting evil as deliverance from evil. We must go on struggling to be human." That's where the Holy Spirit leads us. That struggle. In times of, "I can't believe this is happening," making us fully alive, fully human, loving people, who might, indeed, look a little intoxicated at 10 a.m. in the morning.